Hey guys, welcome back to Contest Prep University. Joe Klemczewski with Adam Atkinson, fifth and final episode in our aggressive peaking series. And it's contest day. We've gone through all of the prep. Adam, you and I both know, as we've talked about previously in this series, that we want most of the glycogen to be where we want it. Probably still going to wake up on contest day a little bit flat, but tight. That's part of just, sleeping through the night without hydration and food and so forth, if that's your plan. And now it's almost like just add water, kind of like a drink mix. You just add water and watch it happen. And you've got your typical normal meals. I know you and I will agree that we're probably using much of the same food sources that the clients are used to. So there's no surprises in how they digest food and any type of allergic reactions. But at the same time, all of that is the baseline. There are times you just need to really stomp on the accelerator. And let's talk first about getting full. It's contest day. That person's just not getting flat. They've got a meal or two in. They're a couple hours away from stage, maybe shorter. What do you do if you really know they have to be fuller?
So, yeah, they're struggling with fullness at this point. So typically water, water, water. So just try to get as much water into that muscle tissue as possible. Now, a problem you might run into with that is where you start seeing, water in between the skin and the muscle tissue. And when you massively increase water, you have a chance of losing sodium and potassium and minerals. And this is something I coined as sodium flat. So you can use salt to pull that water into the muscle tissue and make you look tighter and fuller at the same time. So, salt and water are going to be your best friends on show day for that added fullness.
And I would say in that context, so like you just mentioned, you have to understand that there are a series of physiological events that are most probable. So if this, then that. If you are flat and you're struggling to get full enough, then I totally agree, Adam. You got to be thinking of water. You also have to think that this water has to be directed into the muscle tissue, knowing that water follows solutes. Glucose is probably not going to help you that much because it takes too long to digest and get anywhere. That's a little bit of a myth and a fallacy. But most acutely, as you said, sodium, maybe some other minerals, just like, that we have in sports drinks, the electrolytes and, the supportive minerals like potassium and magnesium and calcium, anything to make sure that that's getting directed. I know a lot of people, you included, you're one of the people who really started this, doing things like, having just pickles, because of the massive sodium content without a lot of gut load or carbohydrate. A small amount of potato chips, something again with just massive immediate salt impact. Are those the main tricks you do? Like if you needed that person to get full and you're adding the water, what are the ways that you're going to make sure you get that water where you want it?
Yeah, the only thing is the night before might be your last shot to get a little extra food in for that maximal fullness. So, but if we're talking just show day, maybe a little higher breakfast meal, but it's likely not going to assimilate into the muscle tissue. So, really, just kind of those things and a really good pump up, but obviously not too much because you don't want to pump glucose out of the muscle tissue too. So just like anything, it's a really fine balance, and you can add too much salt and have a aldosterone shift that you won't be able to recover from for the day. Sometimes we go all in on prejudging because that's when they're given the pro cards and risk not winning the overall just to, get that class win and be done.
Mm-hmm. So just one quick scenario to finish the series. Let's say, like our earlier episodes, you have to be tighter, and maybe that person is spilling over a little bit. Maybe we pushed a little bit too much the day before, and they wake up a little softer, or after a meal or two, they're softening a little bit. I know what my answer is going to be, but is it just time? Is it where you have to say, okay, we need to maybe extend our window between meals? Like let's not eat in 2 or 3 hours. Let's wait till 4 or 5. Let's maybe move around a little bit. How do you get them to do the opposite and regain that tightness?
Yeah, I've had people not eat, pre-stage if they're looking too full. You can do activity, a walk, or maybe a brisk walk if they have enough time to touch up their tan. So you can go the other direction with exercise too. I've had people pump up in their room for 10 to 15 minutes and usually just have them lay down and rest as well after those phases also. So yeah, going the other direction on staying tight, or if somebody was a little too full, you can pull back like that.
And I would say this, I want to see if you agree. A mistake people make in that scenario often is to think, okay, I'm a little bit soft, so I'm going to also withhold water. And I find now you're just going to add some extra flatness. And so while you're potentially moving around a little bit more, withholding food for a while, sometimes drinking a decent amount extra, even more than planned, will start to create some of that water release. And especially if you're moving around, that can really help that turnover quicken. But I'm curious if you would agree.
Yeah, definitely. I certainly had that with my client Chris this weekend where we just really needed time and needed, him to drink more water to let his body re-regulate. So I 1000% agree on that.
Happened a couple times with me as a pro because I have a pretty slow metabolism, and sometimes I got just a little too aggressive on food, and by saying okay, I'm just done, I don't need any more food, but keeping the water increasing was the exact right play for recovery. So again, thanks so much, Adam. You guys back in the flow of our short episode series. We hope this helps in terms of just understanding sometimes you do need to get aggressive, but how you define that can make the difference. Sometimes it's looking for aggressive tightness, sometimes aggressive fullness, all about knowing your body type and managing that peak. We'll see you next time in Contest Prep University.